Hi everyone, and welcome. In this video, I'm going to walk you through our platform's resource hierarchy. I'll explain what resources we have, how they're organized, and why this hierarchy is crucial for modern software development and deployment. Let's jump right in. At the root of our resource hierarchy, we have the organization. This is the highest level grouping in our platform. Every team, project, and environment ultimately falls under an organization. Within an organization, we can have multiple environments. These typically reflect different stages of software development, like dev, staging, production, or any custom environment name that a user sets up. Environments let you isolate resources for different stages or different use cases. The first major resource domain I want to highlight is code to cloud. Under each environment, you can provision and manage resources on various cloud providers, like AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes, and more. For each environment, code-to-cloud resources might be an AWS DynamoDB table, a GCP Compute Engine instance, a Kubernetes deployment, and so on. The platform defines these resources in a way that makes them easy to configure and provision. When you create a code-to-cloud resource, the platform takes your inputs and triggers the creation on the actual cloud provider. Completely self-service. Key point: code-to-cloud resources always have an environment as their parent. This ensures that every provisioned resource is scoped to a specific environment. Now, if you're provisioning resources on a cloud provider, you obviously need credentials, like AWS access keys, Azure service principals, etc. That's where our connections domain comes in. These are also tied to an environment. Next up is code to build. Unlike code to cloud, code to build resources are at the organization level because they're about building services, not deploying them into a particular environment. Building a microservice is often environment agnostic. You use the same build process whether you're targeting dev or production. Code to build includes resources like cookie-cutter templates to bootstrap new services, GitHub actions or workflows that automate your build pipelines, and service definitions that describe how a service is structured. All these resources are reusable across multiple environments. Because the code and build logic for your microservice rarely change per environment, having these at the organization level makes it simpler and more consistent. Now let's talk about IAC modules, short for Infrastructure as Code modules. These are chunks of configuration or code, Terraform or Pulumi, that define how certain resources should be deployed. The platform includes some default modules out of the box, and your organization can add custom ones. Because a module can be used across multiple environments, it also lives at the organization level, making it a shared resource. The only thing that changes per environment is the input data, like instance sizes, region names, or environment-specific tags. Our next key category is IAM, Identity and Access Management. Two main resource types here are identity accounts for individual users and teams, which group users together. An identity account is created for each user when they sign up. A single user might belong to multiple organizations, or they might create their own. While an identity account doesn't necessarily belong to one organization, it can be linked to multiple. Teams are simpler. They're created at the organization level. You can add multiple identity accounts to a team so that you can manage their access collectively. Think of a dev team, ops team, QA team, etc. Finally, we have config maps, which are key value pairs used to store configuration data for services. For instance, you might store environment variables that should be injected at deploy time. Since this data is environment-specific, config maps live under the environment. Using a config map, you can reference specific values in your microservice definitions. This is a clean and secure way to manage environment-dependent settings. To summarize, organization is the top-level container for everything. Environments let you isolate resources for each development stage or scenario. Code-to-cloud resources and connections are environment-scoped for cloud deployments. Code-to-build and IAC modules exist at the organization level because they're reusable across environments. IAM resources like identity accounts and teams help manage user access. Config maps store those crucial environment-specific configurations. That's it for our resource hierarchy. I hope this walkthrough clarifies how our platform organizes resources, credentials, builds, and identities. If you have any questions or want to explore deeper, don't hesitate to reach out or check our documentation. Thanks for watching, and happy building.